What's up, guys? Today we're going to continue the Stanley Parable. Thanks for watching. Please consider clicking subscribe and like buttons if you want to see more. Helps out a ton. Okay, let's go. I forgot that it became the Stanley Parable 2. If y'all remember, after we got that one thing where the narrator is all like, oh, this Ultra Deluxe is terrible, I'm making a Stanley Parable 2. Now it's become the Stanley Parable 2, so. Maybe I should change my intro. The end doesn't have the end. Yep, we know this. Here we are. Happy birthday, 12th step. Happy 12th birthday, step
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
The bucket is the property of Stanley. This bucket has seen some things. Two-door.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Let's go right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Is that the actual time? No. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's off by an hour.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure.
No,
Stanley reflected on all they'd been through
3
together.
minutes.
First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired. No, never mind.
What?
The bucket was wrong.
No,
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
I've forgotten what happens if we do this. Oh, what the heck? Not only can you use WASD to move, you can use a right click. That's weird.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Broom closet. Yay. Okay, I'm done with the broom closet. What is this baby from? I legitimately do not remember what point in the game there was a baby. Did I miss something? Or is the baby just here? There's like a weird room with all the things. The 2 doors, computer, pencil sharpener, mugs, that thing.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh no, not this again, no! Oh my god, adventure
Now,
line.
this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then.
What is
Let's
this
do it for the
room?
fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No, it's my bucket. What is this room, by the way? Wall. But I don't want to give up my bucket. What if I go through this door? Nope. I don't want to give you my bucket. Because then you're just trying to take the bucket from me because you want the bucket. Yeah.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
No, this is my bucket. Can I turn this off?
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits.
I think it's gonna
What other
explode.
object in this game can you
Help,
even say
it's
that
gonna
about?
explode.
The broom
Help
closet?
me.
Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this.
Let me out.
Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you
I
crush
like
that
the
damn
adventure-
bucket. Quickly
I
now,
like the Adventure
fans
Line.
are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the
No.
fans what they want. Hurry and
No. Uh-oh. Bucket. There's the Bucket Destroyer.
Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spell-binding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
I don't like the Bucket Destroyer. Try to get rid of my bucket. Fading away. The end is never the end. Okay. Let's go.
All of his co-workers were gone.
We're gone. What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
There's a door open over there. I wonder how I can get over there. Do I have to, like... Painting? File cabinets? Is there... Nope.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
There has to be one door that I can open. What? There will be a reward for finding them all. Well, now I want to find them all. Oh my. Places to search. A large room, lots of boxes. Stairs, something to do stairs. Somewhere both red and blue. Okay. Stairs.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Can I keep going up? Aha!
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlurines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
I hope it's Stanlurines, because Figans, was it? No, I remember what happens if we do that. What happens if I do it with the bucket, though? I don't think I've done it with the bucket.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley.
Yeah, this is just the infinite
he thought to
hallway.
himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this.
My
Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Where's my bucket?
Come to me, Stanley! Find me! He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, I remember this now.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks and she backflipped all the way to work.
Oh, the buckets.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
The bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this No, never mind. The bucket was
wrong.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
We need a key card. Oh, wait. Able to... Yes! Is there anything in here? I think there is. I'm just gonna grab my Stanlurine.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Stanlurines. Very soon, you'll collect the last
Figler
one, and then the
Stanlurines?
first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Stanlurines. None of us can.
You know, what happens... I mean, where to say what happens? Yeah, what happens if I go over here? And then also it said somewhere both red and blue. The end is never the end. This got creepy. What was that? Was that like a...
Okay.
Oh.
This is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so...
It's a narrator sound
What
system.
do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it.
Oh my.
It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Caporata.
Okay.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
That changed.
The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I have something I want to try.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
We keep going forward.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go
And I
somewhere
want to go
else.
down.
The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Is there anywhere I could like hop down from here that I wouldn't die doing so? And also, can someone explain the physics of this? Because these are clearly not... Okay, there might be one nail there, but... How is this supported? I mean, like, look at this. And here I am walking on it. Like, that's just not how physics work. Could I fall into these boxes? Would the boxes cushion my landing? I'm gonna try.
But Stanley feared
Nope.
that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
In real life, I probably could have survived that fall. I mean, like, I landed on some
All of his co-workers
boxes
were gone.
from
What
like,
did it mean?
what, maybe 5
Stanley
meters in
decided to
there,
go
and
to the meeting
sure,
room. Perhaps he had...
that's a
The bucket made
lot,
Stanley want to be a
but
better man and
like-
a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
what if I go backwards? Can I go back to my office? Nope. It closed behind me and locked itself. How?
Stanley
So,
punched the
I think
bucket
we've done
tightly to his
everything there is
chest
on the right,
and
so let's go
entered
left.
The door on his left.
Somewhere both red and blue. Okay, I'm gonna think of that. Think on that. Red and blue. If I don't find it by the end of this episode, and any of you guys have an idea, please tell
Coming
me.
to a staircase,
Wait.
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Red and blue. But we already got that one. This place up here is also red. Is there anything blue? It's red and blue. Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisp. Wow. Sure not in there. Does the elevator work? I guess I'm just gonna wait in this elevator. This extremely bright elevator. What's funny is holding my bucket, if I get closer to the wall, it now looks like it's like a cup. Cup, buckets. Cup, bucket. Pixels? Why is that like all pixely? Like, that's like... That's weird. Okay. All of these are exactly the same. We might need to fast forward this. Does this ever end? Okay, I don't think it ends. And somehow, here we still are. What is this, like a massage elevator? Does it just vibrate and it's not actually an elevator? Wait, what's back here? Well,
Stepping into his manager's
Manager's
office, Stanley was once again stunned to
da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
Oh, the
Even
bucket.
now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him, always.
Why do I feel
The
like this could be Morse code?
And he knew it. The two of them
It was
were
like dash,
inseparable.
dot,
At
dash,
this point,
dot,
Stanley was so
dot,
absorbed in the tender spiritual
dash,
connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad
dot,
behind the boss's desk.
dot,
Nor in his
dash,
bliss of simply being near the
dash,
bucket
dash,
did he have any
dash,
notion
dash,
that the
dot,
pin number for the keypad
dash,
was
dot,
2845.
dot. No, right, yeah, I don't know. But I'm surprised don't do it, like, correctly.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. "2845. Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley
my
got the hell
God.
along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
We need someone somewhere both red and blue. Nope, I'm out. Or not, I'm stuck in here. Down we go.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be
Here we
all Stanley
are.
could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring
Here
that in
we
this darkest moment of
are.
uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
You know, I thought before you didn't want me to have the bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Hold up. Can I just... Aw. What about over here? Can I squeeze through? No. I'm looking for secrets. Secrets. Ooh, is that... Can I squeeze? No. Can't squeeze. No bucket. Oh. Yeah, you've already done this. Can I go back, please?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Oh yeah, last time we did this, I fell over the edge.
monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs.
There's one person that got fired
Bucket
over there.
had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Oh, there's like a weird glitchy one up there. Is this place both red and blue?
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raised furiously.
Two
in
buckets or
Stanley's
not
mind.
two buckets?
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Wait, there's a platform there. Where am I? My gosh, it's so dark.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its
is there a
terrible
button up
power
there?
over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Now I know it wants us to take it down and all that, but what if we turn it on? Because last time we turned it off.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
This is kind of cruel, but I'm...
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror.
Yeah, it's not my
Had
fault.
this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him
no.
like this?
Bucket, I'm
Stanley was
taking you
prepared
away.
to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly.
Yes!
Silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Yes! Oh,
Stanley flipped through one video of
he's so
silly birds after
cute.
another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world.
Penguins!
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, living through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all
They're
the
so
possible
silly.
paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best.
Oh, the silly
Stanley
birds.
was happy.
Whoa. Oh. No! My birds. It took away my birds from me. Well, let's end here for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see what you think, and maybe I'll be back with more to Stanley Parable soon. If there are any other games you'd like me to play, then leave them in the comments below. Thanks, and goodbye. That's all for today. If you want to see more, hit the like button to improve our score. Please consider subscribing too, so our new videos will be added to your queue. See you next time!